Thank you all for coming out. We're trying to get this off as close to 5:30 as we can. For those of you who picked up an agenda, you'll see on there we're clearly going to adjourn at 7:30. Trying to be respectful of everyone's time. But before I go a second further, I cannot tell you how much I thank you all for coming out and participating in this. As I've told the people that I've been working with for the last week and a half, I had no idea how many people would show up. And you're here, and I cannot thank you. I was told by one of our reporters that he's been doing this for 30 years, and he says that people love to comment and make remarks about the budget, but when it comes down to people actually showing up and being here to a meeting, you get nobody. He said, you know, you'll be lucky to get 3 people. I said, I thought things had changed a little bit, I mean, you know, certainly since the past election, and boy, was I right. And I see the room energized, and again, thank you all for coming out. Well, first, those of you who've been in the room before, this is where the commissioners meet. By intention, we have turned the chairs. I want to make it clear to everybody that this is not a county commissioner meeting. This is also not a public hearing on the budget. That will happen on June the 19th, exactly 2 weeks from today. But for those of you who track these things, you know that the hearing, or the county commissioners meeting and public hearing that was supposed to take place tonight was canceled on May 15th. And leaving the public hearing on the budget be pushed to June 19th, which will be the same day that the county commissioners will be voting on the budget. It struck me and a lot of the people in this room, because I know I heard from you all, or not all, but many of you, that was unfair for those people who wanted to produce or present significant comments about the different nonprofits that were proposed to be cut and other issues on the budget. In my mind, the part of government is to be representative and to hear all points of view. And you can't do it if you don't have the public hearings. And backing the public hearing right up on top of the vote made no sense to me. It did not give time for the commissioners to hear significant comments or to receive written material. So, to that point, if any of you have tonight any written material that you want presented to the county commissioners, please make sure that I have it in my hands before the end of the evening. I commit to get it to our county clerks, who will in turn get it to all of the commissioners. So any written materials or even written statements you have like that, I'll make sure they get it. I know there's a lot of interest in what's happening with the budget, and certainly with the 10 nonprofits that received a proposal to have their funding cut in total or in part on some of those. I get it. I was outraged, or I was terribly concerned. And again, my feelings have been confirmed by seeing you all here. A little bit more housekeeping before we get going. For those of you who are not familiar with this building, there are bathrooms here. As I face this way, it's down this hallway here. The women's room is first, and then the men's room. There's also a drinking fountain out there if you need some water. I asked them to put the air conditioning on, and I think it may be a little chilly now with this many people, though it'll heat up. This is a long way of saying thank you to the New Hanover County, who is allowing us to use this room. A special shout out and thank you to Brett Connell, who's up in the booth there, who is making the audio happen. And thank you, Brett, and Jerome Fennell, who is our property management director. He's the one that helped us with the chairs and the setup of the room. The setup for tonight is we have handheld mics. So when you go to speak, please raise your hand. And Christine, where are you? There you are. And Greg is the other. Christine will go this way, Greg will go that way. And so use the mic. Here's the deal. We have a lot of people, which I'm thrilled about. We have a 2-hour time frame. I'd like to get to as many questions, as many comments as I possibly can. Please try to keep your comments as brief or as compact as possible. If you hear somebody say something that you're planning to say, please don't repeat it. Just pass the mic on. That'll allow for more people, or the most people, to be able to be heard. We are going to focus on the 10 nonprofits at the top part of the meeting, again, as you see in your agenda, so that those 10 nonprofits have a chance to get their word out and tell a little bit about their organizations. Remember, tonight is as much about education as it is about, it's about education, really, because everyone who speaks tonight, either on the nonprofits or on other points on the budget, I'm encouraging all of you to show up again on June 19th at the official public hearing. You will be given 3 minutes. So in some ways, this is a dress rehearsal for that. Pack what you're having to say down to 3 minutes, because that's all you'll have. And so think about the reaction you get tonight. Think about what you're doing as you do it, and then bring it back on June the 19th. For those of you who say, gee, I already did it once, I'm not, it's not necessary for me to come back to June 19th, you're mistaken. I'll tell you that right now. Everything that you say, everything that goes on in this room needs to be said in front of the full, all 5 of the county commissioners. Now, hey, Judy, good to see you. I'm sorry about the mic kind of cutting in and out. I know that can be a little irritating when you're trying to slide it up a little bit, see if it will help. Can everybody hear me all right, by the way? Yeah. In the back, in the back row over there? Wonderful. And the handheld mics will be just the same, so we should be able to get hearing. We have a videotape that's being done of this for our own use. Also, we'll have an audio recording of it. Derek is taking notes for those people who speak. If you have not signed the sign-in sheet, please make sure that you do, so that if there's any comments or questions that come out that I can do follow-up on, I need to know how to get back in touch with you. So please make sure you sign in, leave your email and or phone number. That would really be helpful. New Hanover County has a long history of supporting committed nonprofits, and for a very good reason, because the work that the nonprofits do in New Hanover County, of which there are over 400, and of those 400, New Hanover County supports 43 nonprofit and outside agencies, we call that. So 443. It's a very selective process that once you apply for it and you make the case for it and you get your funding, it's important that you provide your financials. So none of this is done at a whim, and all the nonprofits in New Hanover County does fund are extremely important. The total cuts that we've talked about of these 10 nonprofits is $135,000 out of a total $367 million budget that's proposed for 2017 and 2018. Thanks to the math of Tim Buckland of the Star News. Tim, I don't know if you're here. Oh, actually, I see you well. That represents 0.0004% of the entire budget, at $135,000. Or to put it in perspective, because I know I have a hard time wrapping my head around $367 million. To put it in perspective, if you have a household budget of, say, $25,000 a year for groceries, these cuts represent a $10 bill out of the $25,000. Or as I like to say, 3 packages of Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. So we're not talking about a lot. It's a minimal investment by our county of these nonprofits who address some of the most difficult social issues in our county, everything from homelessness to addiction to hunger. So it's a smart thing that the county does when they make these investments into our community. So you might ask, why are we talking about cutting the funding? It's not because we can't balance the budget. The New Hanover County staff has already recommended full funding for all of these nonprofits. They can balance the budget, and they can. It's not about offsetting funding from one department to another. Again, the staff has already said that's all taken care of. The majority of the Board of Commissioners is trying to make a statement about their philosophy of government. That's what this is about. And it's a philosophy that is financially short-sighted and is very short on compassion. It's a philosophy also that I simply do not share. And that is one of the reasons why I'm here tonight to allow people to stand up and speak and to remind all of us and educate our entire community how important those nonprofits are, as well as to discuss more things about the budget. So with that, I promised all the good people who helped me that I would not go on. So, let's get right to it.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
Who's the timekeeper?
Excuse me?
Will there be a warning before you get to your 3 minutes?
Yes. There will be, Dennis, I thought we had something, but I think what you do, when you're speaking, we have I'm trying hard not to say it's a hard and fast stop. But if you go beyond 2 minutes to 3 minutes, Dennis is going to raise his hand. And please be respectful of that, respectful of Dennis certainly, and of everybody else's time. And it's not stop in mid-sentence, finish your thought, but allow other people to speak. That's how we'll do it. Obviously, if that doesn't work out, I'm going to have to step in and ask for, thank you, Lord, like that. So that we can get as many people speaking as possible. So Dennis is our man here for timing. Dennis is right here. Great. So is there, starting at the top here, the Cape Fear Resource Conservation and Development Incorporated. Is there anybody here from that? Marilyn, good. Can we get a microphone for Marilyn?
Please just stand up.
Thank you very much. Cape Fear Resource Conservation and Development is a nonprofit that does resource projects in a 5-county area. They have anything to do from drainage to flooding to landfill gas collections. And it operates on a system of a county or an entity within the county coming to us and asking us to do a project that otherwise would fall through the cracks. Some years we bring great money into our counties. Some years we're not as good. But overall, the $9,000 that we ask for from each county per year is overly matched many times over. My real issue with this is it is terrible that we've been cut, but the fact of the way it was done in such an uncivil manner, I mean, we received an email on May 9th, I think it was, that said that staff had recommended our full $9,000 dues from the county. And on May 16th, we received another mail that said, oops, sorry, you have been zeroed out. And this is at the end of our trying to figure out what our budget is going to be for the coming year. And I think, I'm not really sure what can be done about that, but that is probably the biggest issue right now. I mean, the money is terrible, and I'm not sure how we're going to handle that part, but I'm pretty disgusted by the way they did it. Thank you.
One quick follow-up, yeah. Marilyn, also, if I understand you correctly, and it's worth re-emphasizing, that the $9,000 going to the Cape Fear Resource Conservation Development is also a dues, so that it allows us to bring more money into the county. And by more money, we're talking about tens, 20s, 50, hundreds of thousands of dollars as a result of our participation. Is that correct?
That's correct. And also, it was our understanding that we had a commitment, a 2-year commitment that came from last year into this year, so it really caught us off guard.
That commitment, because I know the number of nonprofits have reached out about that issue. 3 years ago, the county went to a 2-year cycle of funding. The way the contracts are actually written is that it's on the county's option to be able to renew, and it's contingent on appropriations coming from the county commissioners. So that 2-year agreement is actually contingent on an annual approval by the county commissioners, which is why we're seeing in the middle of your 2-year cycle, your funding being threatened. I've spoken with staff about that, and I think we'll see some clearing up of those agreement letters so we don't set that expectation.
I'm Danielle D'Arcangelo. I'm the new executive director for Cape Fear RC and Date. So thank you so much. I just wanted to follow up. In terms of our plan for the community and moving forward, we're actually working towards moving with some corporate sponsorship and some folks that can really help us make a huge difference in this community with regard to our environment, our community members, and our economics. And one of the main things that they're looking for is to see whether or not we've got some partnership and we've got some support from our government, which is very, very important, even though, like you said, 9,000, it's not a huge amount, but it does show us support and it does give us something to go to our other investors and say, look, this is important to our community and to our government and to the people that we are supporting and serving. So I just wanted to make that a point so that you knew that we're looking at bringing a lot more to our community than this is suggesting. However, it's enabling us to do that.
Thank you.
Rob,
Yes, sir.
is it possible to have the speakers come around where you are so
Yes,
we're
they
not
can
looking
see.
at their backs?
Thanks very much. Yes, it is, of course it is. Is someone here from Wilmington Downtown Inc.? Oh, no, Wilmington Downtown Inc. right now. Yeah, thanks. I'm looking for the nonprofit, WDI. Thank you. Is there anybody? Oh, hey, yeah, is there somebody? Geez, I didn't see you come in. Yeah, hey, Mr. WDI is right here. You can come up and that'd be great.
Middle of the room.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ed Wolverton, Wilmington Downtown Incorporated. WDI is an economic development organization that's focused on stimulating the investment and activity within our downtown area. For those who knew downtown 5 years ago, it's changed a lot since then, right? For those who knew downtown 30 years ago, like some in the back here, it's changed significantly. And it's because of our partnerships with our local government and our business leaders and our community to make downtown better and different. And I think we've shown and demonstrated a track record of success. A big goal of New Hanover County is economic growth and intelligent growth as well. And we think downtown is a shining example of that philosophy and also that success. So we're looking at a 8 to 10% cut from our budget as well. We appreciate the county's involvement through the years. They've been a strong supporter of us. We're hoping that we can continue that going forward in a positive way. So Rob, thanks for your efforts.
Sure. Thanks, Ed. Is someone here from the Continuum of Care of Homelessness?
Cecilia Fears, and I am with the Homeless Continuum of Care. It is administrated out of the Cape Fear Council of Governments. The Continuum of Care is a council that is made up of service providers and community stakeholders that want to prevent and end homelessness in the community. Annually, our community sees about 12 to 1,300 people a year who are homeless. We have been incredibly successful in reducing homelessness over the last 10 years. And the Continuum of Care, a couple of years ago, requested that the city and the county continue funding the COC activities in transferring the funds that we're supporting the 10-year plan to end homelessness to the Council of Governments. Fairly recently, in that same time frame, HUD changed some of the requirements for continuums of care in order to be eligible to receive state and federal funding. So there are lots of things that are required for federal compliance, and all of those things require a full-time staff person, and that is myself, to keep our continuum compliant and to keep us eligible for the $817,000 that we brought in last year. Unfortunately, we are slated for a cut of the $25,000 that the county committed last year. We're not sure exactly how to continue to fund the position that will help to keep our continuum compliant and be eligible for the funding that I talked about, and also for coordinating lots of the activities for our homeless continuum. We have activities related to ending veteran homelessness, ending chronic homelessness, permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, taking care of those people who are medically frail and homeless, making sure that they are able to leave the hospital with a safe place to recuperate. All of those things fall under the continuum of care. And so we've been very grateful for county funding up until now, and hope the county will reconsider the cut that's proposed.
I hope everybody in the room heard what she said. $817,000 is being leveraged by that $25,000 of the county. That's a smart investment is what that is, as well as the issue of homelessness, which plagues our community like many others. That's a smart investment. First tee of Greater Wilmington. Is there anybody here from the first tee? I know they were contacted. Let's go on. Good Shepherd Center. Is there anybody here who can speak? Oh, sorry. Right. No. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I'm here in 3 capacities. One, I'm Rabbi Julie Kozlow, so I'm the rabbi of the Israel congregation, just down the street on Chestnut. I'm also a proud member of the North Carolina Jews for Justice, and we're here as well. And then I have the great privilege of also the great privilege of serving on the board of Good Shepherd. I have a list of why it's such an amazing institution, and it is. 85,000 people are fed a year from Good Shepherd. The amount of the ripple effect of what takes place at that institution and how it reaches out into the depths of Wilmington life for all those who cook meals, for all those who are fed by those meals, it is immeasurable, the goodness that is done by this organization. For me, I'm a rabbi because I'm passionate about justice. And I want to live in a Wilmington that loves the poor, cares about the poor, wants to pay taxes so that somebody will get that money and live a better life than we live. And the Good Shepherd, the Good Shepherd Center is going to be cut in half. In half. They should triple it or quadruple it. That's the kind of number I would feel proud of. So I'm just here to say that the fight for justice is something that every single one of us have to do. This is outrageous. This little piece of money that they so desperately need. Do you know the amount of people who have been helped? Truly helped in the most profound ways because somebody cares that they're poor and alone and hungry? I don't know what we got to do, but I'm going to fight from here on out to make sure that that money doesn't get cut and that it gets quadrupled. That's all.
Thank you. The Lenny Simpson Tennis and Education Fund, One Love Tennis.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, good to see you.
Good evening. Welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I mean, they give me 3 minutes. I can't even say my name in 3 minutes. My name is Lenny Simpson, better known as Lenbert Simpson, born and raised right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, 1417 Ann Street. Came back here 3.5 years ago. You know why I came back? Because someone in this town gave me the opportunity to succeed in life. As a youngster, 5 years of age, started playing the game of tennis. Tennis is not known as a black man's sport. It supposedly is a white man's sport. But that's probably one of the stupidest statements that I've ever heard. Simply for the fact, if it had not been for Dr. Hubert Eaton Sr. at 1406 Orange Street, world champion brought out of the slums of New York City, Althea Gibson, raised here in Wilmington, 1406 Orange Street. We decided that it was time to come back home here. When we came here 3.5 years ago to participate in the Azalea Festival, I looked at that podium on 3rd Street. I remember as a little boy growing up in this town on the curb at the Azalea Festival, not really wanting people, probably not wanting me there. I didn't see anybody in the parade of my color. So I made my mind up right then and there. It was time for me to come back home to Wilmington, make a difference in this community with our One Love tennis program. Isn't that the greatest gift that God gave us? Love. One Love. Every organization in here is doing just that. Why is it on the backs of the nonprofits that have been chosen to be cut? Are all of the nonprofits that are helping people, helping poor people, helping kids, and providing love. That's what this is all about. I wish I had the $135 measly $1,000 to give to every one of these organizations that's been cut. Now, after having said that, we go through 460 kids a week playing the game of tennis at risk young boys and girls in this town that would never have the opportunity to play the game of tennis. Taking this money out of our budget is going to change that. We're changing lives, guys. We work with kids from 5 years of age to 14. You know why we take that age? Because we want to set that foundation. We want to set those morals and values to help these kids get off the street. We're talking about violence in this community. We're talking about kids getting killed on street corners, drive-by shootings. All these kids are at risk. And this is not only the kids that are at risk, but we teach kids in this town that are worth $3 million as well. Every kid is at risk. So that's all I've got to say right now. So thank you.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Thank you. I'm a big supporter of One Love Tennis, and I mean that in every simple way. I volunteer time and I spend money. And I think each and every person in this room has a obligation of some sort to support the people in this community in any way they can, somehow, some way. My wife and I have been fortunate enough, Carolyn, to have accumulated some wealth, and we want to share it. And the best way we knew how to share it was to find out. We worked for 10 years trying to find a place that had a big impact in the right place in this city, and this One Love Tennis. Lenny undersells this program tremendously. He says he teaches 460 kids a week. First of all, he forgot to mention they also tutors those same kids in education, and if they don't make the grades, they don't play tennis. Secondly, that's the 460 kids that have rackets. They all have siblings, they all have classmates, they all have parents, aunts, uncles, doctors, whatever, in their lives. And he's impacted 10,000 people in this town easily in 2.5, 3 years. And he's done it mostly on his own. He spends 6 days a week on the tennis court, and he's not a spring chicken. Okay, I just think it's, anyway, I don't get too carried away here, but it is almost immoral. They got $135,000 out of this program. I'm David McLemore, I'm sorry.
Sure, no. Thank you so much. Yeah. Great. The Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. Is there anyone there from that organization? Anyone here? The Recovery Resource Center. Is there someone here from there? I know there is. Johnny?
Oh, they collect doors and windows and add-ons.
My name is Johnny Bucket. I'm the president of the Recovery Resource Center. We're a group of peer support specialists that are trying to help people in their recovery journey. I'm a Vietnam veteran living with PTSD, and I got 34 years clean and sober. I go over to the I go to the Ashley House to work with the veterans over there that are in an 18-month transitional program. And tonight, one of my success stories is Shepherd, where they had the graduation ceremony. And I'm in favor of Good Shepherd too, because they're the ones that financed the Ashley House through the VA. We also take classes to senior centers. Right now, we're the people in the trenches that are trying to help people in recovery from this opioid epidemic. And $5,000 to us, I mean, we're all volunteers in my nonprofit. And $5,000 would hurt us a whole lot. We need support. We need people that, instead of giving lip service to the drug problem, get up there and fund us, because we're the ones that are in the trenches.
Thank you, Johnny. The Wilmington Area Rebuilding Ministry, also known as WARM. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you.
Hi, I'm J.C. Skane. I'm the Executive Director of Wilmington Area Rebuilding Ministry, WARM, as many of you know us. Our mission is to complete urgent home repairs, build wheelchair ramps and other accessibility upgrades for the folks out there who own their homes but are poor. So we've been doing this over 20 years. We just recently, in the last few years, started getting money from New Hanover County. $10,000 last year, which they are cutting to $5,000 this year. Now, $5,000 means probably 4 wheelchair ramps, just to give you some idea of our return on investment math, because we do use volunteer labor, so we can make the money go really far. And so even if you fall in your home, 60% chance you're going to fall again. So even if only 25%, even if only one of those people fell again and couldn't live at home, that's $30,000 a year in an adult living facility for every year that they continue to stay alive, and the averages are a lot lower for that than if they were at home. It's usually around 3 to 4 years. So honestly, $5,000 in our $900,000 budget is not going to make a huge impact. I've already had major donors come and fill that gap for us, who were also disturbed by the cut. But I'm here for 2 reasons. One is because this is the most amazing place on the planet. This county we live in, and I've told Rob this a lot, and it's a huge responsibility to take care of it. Every blade of grass, every human being, every ounce of water that rolls through here is a huge responsibility to do that. And the other reason I'm here is because you're here. And I don't know that I would have taken the time to come if I didn't realize what an amazing response that Rob's gotten to this meeting. So you guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. I'm right here.
There's another concept too that I know JC touched on there, that I call these lower, the $5,000 and $10,000 fundings as acknowledgement money, essentially. Acknowledgement that the county supports that, and those different nonprofits take that acknowledgement money and they go to the city. And the city of Wilmington provides a similar $5,000 or $10,000. Between the two of them, they can then go and apply for more grants. Again, so and on the grant applications for larger grants, the question is always asked, do you have the support of your city and your county? And with that acknowledgement money, you can, and it leverages 10, 50, 100, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It comes straight back into our community, and in most cases is being optimized by volunteers. Hundreds, everybody here in this room, I'm sure, is a volunteer of some sort or another. So I just wanted to make that point. JC, thanks so much again for your comments. Anyone here from the Wilmington Residential Adolescent Achievement Place Incorporated, also known as RAP? I can speak to that from what I know. I attended their graduation. It's a program that takes high-risk kids in the 3rd through the 5th grade, 3rd through 8th grade, excuse me, and they're focused mainly on Sunset Park. This past year, I just attended, or last week, attended a graduation of 27 children that fit into that category. the work that they are doing on a day-to-day basis with these children, working with them on their homework, working with them on their skills, their social skills, and providing them a safe, creative, and productive place to go. They do this 5 days a week. It's a wonderful program. And it's programs like this that are a small microcosm of our society here that the county cannot deal with. They can't in such small amounts. We can't do it efficiently or as effectively as this RAP program has done. They recognize a real need in our community, and they are making a difference. In this case, the $10,000 that they have there that helps keep their program alive, and they are a perfect example of taking some money from the city and from the county and leveraging it into a larger grant that allows them to continue this work with the children that need it the most in our community. I think you all heard me say before, we either pay for it up front or we pay for it at the other end in costs on social services, including jails, et cetera, in our hospital. So that's Oh yes, sure, Dolores, so please step up and speak to the Martin Luther King Day celebration.
Thank you.
Sure.
I couldn't let this opportunity go by without sharing the love that is felt during the Martin Luther King celebration. We fought so hard to have a day that we can recognize the services and all of the characteristics of goodness that Dr. King imparted on us. For the last 8 years, I have been involved in the Martin Luther King celebration. When I was at UNCW, the students from New Hanover County and Pender were involved with art contests. We were involved with all types of services that you could see, that they expressed their views on brotherhood, sisterhood, mankind, love, forgiveness. I noticed that the elected officials always participate in the parade. I noticed that. Every year, they lead it off. Matter of fact, I think they had the first 10 cars. So I think what we should do this year is put them behind so they can see. I want them to see the number of schools in this area, from Brunswick, New Hanover, Pender, all of these students of differences come together with their parents. The kids always bring out the parents. If we believe in just a collection or a tapestry of people of differences coming together, let the students get involved. And so when you walk down the street, you see everyone. And that's what Dr. King was all about. The event starts out on a Friday with activities for parents, the community. Costs very, very, very little. Just give of yourself, reflect on the meaning of love. Bring some of that love into Wilmington. God knows we need it right now. Bring some of that compassion for the poor. Join together collectively so we can make a difference in Wilmington. And that I ask you for, not for 10,000, not for the measly 5,000. What were they thinking? Come on now. We need some money to support this well-organized, worthwhile event.
Nonprofits that were proposed to have their funding cut. There are a couple other nonprofits that are here that I'd like to asked to speak to it because they do important work, as many of the nonprofits do, that are sitting here today. Amy Feith is here from Carousel Center, and if you don't know the work of Carousel Center, you want to.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Feith, and I'm the Executive Director of the Carousel Center, which is Southeastern North Carolina's Child Advocacy Center. So our job is when a report comes in for a child being physically or sexually abused, they start at the Carousel Center with a forensic interview and a medical evaluation, and then they do evidence-based trauma therapy with us. And I'm standing before you, a very grateful, funded agency through New Hanover County. And I just thought that it would be important for this opportunity for our community members to have some education about nonprofits. I think there's often misconception that we can just do another fundraiser, we can just find another donor, which truthfully, I would respectfully ask, we've thought of that, and if we would. And we are doing, some of us, doing 5 and 6 major fundraisers annually, which doesn't leave a, so that's me and my agency, there are 11 staff. So I'm the only person that is not tied to either doing medical evaluations, forensic interviews, or therapy with children, and the family advocacy with the actual the families that are trying to help their child survive and thrive in a community after being abused. We serve 320 as of today unduplicated children this fiscal year, and it's only through May 31st. So we are on track to be at an unprecedented over 400 children this year that we have provided services for. Oftentimes for nonprofits, we are awarded an amount that is not even going to touch what we're able to provide for New Hanover County citizens and the benefit for citizens. But I have to reiterate what Commissioner Zapple has said. We leverage that money like nobody's business. There is no better hustle than the hustle in the nonprofit community. We really do to leverage whatever we get from one funding source to go to another funding source and say, look, we've got buy-in from our city, our county, and United Way. What can you do to help us augment that so that we can actually do the program we wrote you the grant for $100,000 and you're only able to give us $18,000. We still have to provide those services because the children don't stop coming through the doors. So it's important to know that we do leverage every tiny amount of money that we do get. Please consider supporting your favorite nonprofit. I'm here as in solidarity with my colleagues that have funding cuts that are nonprofits. If you're giving to WARM, you're giving to Carousel. If you're giving to domestic violence or to the food bank or to United Way, you're giving to the Carousel Center children because frequently our kids are going to be kids that may have grandparents who are raising them and need to have repairs to their house so that they have enough money for the new 5 children that they've just taken responsibility for. There's 800 nonprofits in our Tri-County area. And I would welcome anybody who is interested in learning more about how we are able to really leverage what you generously give already to our community, whether it's through taxpayer dollars, whether it's through direct donations, or attending one of our millions.
Marianne?
I think that all those before me did a fabulous job of making their points known and expressing the issues that we face. And I think one thing that we're doing here tonight is outlining the needs of the citizens of New Hanover County and not just our individual agencies' needs. And what we want to do as nonprofits is help the county meet their needs of providing for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the county. And we're happy to do that, and I want to thank you again, Commissioner Zapple, for hosting this meeting so that we can do just that, is let people know how important the nonprofits are. And although our agency through this date is still recommended in the budget for $15,000, which is just 1% of our overall budget. I stand here too in support of all the nonprofits because like Amy said, like if one of us suffers, we all suffer because there's a ripple effect in the programs that we provide. And for example, we address the crime of domestic violence. And by providing our services, we help to reduce the cost for law enforcement and social services and the health needs of residents. And I think many of the agencies tonight that you heard from do the same thing. That's something that we need to think about too. And for domestic violence, unfortunately, it's an increasing crime in our community, and our agency serves on average 238 adults and children each month. And also, New Hanover County Sheriff's Department responds to 2,043 domestic violence calls a year. So it is a serious problem. We certainly appreciate the support from the county that we have now to help address it. I have to rely on my notes sometimes. And I guess I just want to end by saying we look forward to continuing our 31-year-long partnership with New Hanover County. That's how long we've received funding from them. And we want to work alongside our fellow nonprofit agencies that are so important to this county in helping the county to meet their goals of providing the necessary services to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, as Rob said, my name is Jim Carl. I'm the new Executive Director at the Children's Museum of Wilmington. And I guess without repeating a lot of what's been said, I'll say thank you to the commissioners for the support we are getting. But maybe the perspective I can offer that might be quite a bit different than anybody else in this room is I've had this job for all of about 6 months. I've been in the community for all of 7 months. And none of my time before I got here was spent in the, I'll say, the true nonprofit environment. So one of the things I heard before I came to Wilmington was about the strength of the nonprofits, the large number of nonprofits you get to compete with when you get to come down, if you want to use that word. But it's also the large number of nonprofits you get to partner with that are in town. So on behalf of myself, my personal, in my role here, I want to thank those people I have been able to meet and work with, and just sort of reinforce the perspective of, let's say, as an outsider coming in, how welcoming the community is, both from a nonprofit professional standpoint and from the standpoint of just having a lot of people you can reach out to and work with. So I really appreciate that. From the standpoint of the Children's Museum, the only thing I was going to say is, again, this helps us have a watermark as we go forward in our grant seeking, and that's really what we're thankful for. But the other piece is that I'll just say, maybe some of you folks don't know, we obviously have the brick and mortar building a few blocks over, but we do spend a fair amount of funding outreach to the community. The reason I'm here is partially because I'm an engineer and I'm a slow learner, so it took me a while to figure out what my career path was going to be. But I'm passionate about awakening the curiosity and imagination in kids. And to me, that's what the museum tries to do with parents learning with their kids. As we say, the parents are learning to the kids are there to play to learn, and the parents are there to learn to play, and that really is the truth, because I think we could all use laughing a little bit more. So thank you for your support, Commissioner Zapple.
Some of the funding, the $10,000 that the county does helps to leverage, I think it's every second and third grader. The New Hanover County has the opportunity to spend the day at the Children's Museum at least once a year to have that. It's a terrific organization. Thanks. Jimmy Pierce, I saw you sneak in, and I never, where are you, Jimmy? There you are, you're sitting down there. Can you say a few words about kids making it?
Sure. Well, at Kids Making It, we teach woodwork.
Come on up so that people can hear you, otherwise they can't.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Zapple. At Kids Making It, we work with kids from 7 to early adulthood, teaching vocational skills, and we have a new program creating skill trades instruction for our older teens. And our whole job is to help kids stay in schools that have trouble, graduate, and go on to jobs or college. And all of our programs are designed to help connect work to income. And it's very honorable work. And I would say this, before it's anything else, I want to say that I fully agree with the New Hanover County Commissioners' mandate to have to be very good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. And certainly you can't say yes to everything and you can't fund everything. I too, as is the case with Amy, and is the case with Mary Ann, and many others, and JC, am very thankful to have had, and in fact, we're still fortunate to have some funding from the county, and that does mean an awful lot. And I'll tell you, what someone said, it is an imprimatur, I think is the Latin word. It's a stamp of legitimacy to have county funding. So we're very proud that the city supports us, and the United Way supports us, and the county does not pay. And that trifecta helps open up other dollars in the private sector in a very big way. So when you as a county invest in our programs, you're helping us to do tremendous leveraging and provide what we need for our kids. I will mention a couple of other things. I ran the numbers very quickly. And as I understand it, the cuts are about $135,000. I took a look at the United County population is over 298,000. So it works out to about 45 cents a day per person to provide these services, many of which are, a lot of them are boots on the ground, must be done services, and there's not, I look at this list, if there's a problem with management, if there's a problem with services, if there's a problem with mission, I fully understand that. But these are very well-deserving nonprofits. The other thing I'll mention is that in 2011, I believe it was, one of our UNC executive professors did a study, and I believe she did it for the county, and it was the cost of one teenager getting in a gang in New Hanover County and committing one crime. And the cost on an annual basis of that happening is, in her estimation, considering all the factors, between $105,000 and $155,000 per year. One kid getting in one gang, committing one crime. So if one kid is saved by this $135,000 in cuts, and I will tell you, many more will be saved than that. Many more will be saved. Not to mention the homeless people. I would ask you to please reconsider these cuts, and I'll close by saying what I said in the beginning, which is that I heartily applaud your efforts to be very good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. I want you to continue that. I'm proud of all the work you do. I do think in this instance, I would ask you to reconsider these cuts. These agencies do tremendous work.
Speaking on affordable housing.
I originally came to talk about affordable housing being a platform for all the human services. There we go. I originally came to talk about affordable housing as being a platform for all of the human services that are going on. I was overwhelmed by the testimony for the nonprofits. And what it strikes me is that we're missing the point. We should not have to protect 5,000 here and 10,000 there to worthy efforts. We as a community should be planning our resources to provide a human platform for our citizens. We should be working together in order to meet those in need and sharing those that some of us have things we can share, either skills or money or space, food, but there is no county game plan for us to work together. So what it puts is all of the people here competing for a few dollars, a few crumbs along the way, and we don't deal with the fundamental issues. A few years ago, the county did the Gardner Plan. Gardner Plan says that we as a community have amazing resources here, but we need to get our act together in terms of economic development. We need to get our act together in terms of human investment too. They go together. My disappointment is that there is no representative here from social services or from the health department. That the county commissioners are not giving us an opportunity to talk about these things prior to the budget being fixed. And so what we really need to do is plan together for a platform that provides for human services.
It's a good point to remind everybody again, the
June 19th, the public hearing on the budget will be happening. We're hearing tremendous thoughts and tremendous stories. They need to be repeated again in front of all the county commissioners. Amy McLean, you still here, Amy? Yeah. Amy, there you are. Sure, come on.
Hi, I'm Amy McLean. I'm a citizen of New Hanover County in Wilmington, moved here about 19 years ago. And I've really been struck to hear so much discussion about bringing jobs to the county. And I see the current budget includes nearly $750,000 in incentive payments to major corporations that operate here in the county, like PPD, Fortran, and GE. I think it is a mistake to think that businesses care only about tax breaks and incentives when they choose where to locate and expand. The best companies also care about the values of the community, which are reflected in how we choose to spend our tax dollars. Supporting these nonprofits here tonight, or choosing not to, tells a story to the world about what kind of community we are. And I hope the county commission rethinks this decision for the good of our communities.
Is Rex Burford? Rex Burford?
Right here.
Hey, Rex, there you are. Yeah.
See.
Well, folks, this is quite an audience. Can you hear me?
Just keep it close.
Anyway, I'm here to speak about one thing that's a little bit different, but I have to be, just like the gentleman before me, impressed with the outpouring here for these nonprofits. And I heard over the weekend a comment by a person on the public radio about how a lot of people, including our politicians, need to have a moral defibrillation. And you know, we politicians are always looking for a soundbite. Now that's a pretty decent soundbite, moral defibrillation. And I'm going to tell you who said it, and then you probably won't like it. It's the Reverend Barber. He knows how to get a crowd going. I certainly did not. But I think when you look at this paltry list, that's about what you can see as somebody that's in bad need of a moral defibrillation. You all don't know me. I came here to retire, and I couldn't take it any longer, so I had to start speaking out. I'm 77 years old, so they can't hurt me. Now, the problem is, to me, I'm a retired lawyer. When I first came here, permanently, I've been here since 1946. I came to the Hillbilly Riviera with my parents from West Virginia. And I've been around the Hillbilly Riviera ever since. But my point is, when we first built a house down here, my wife and I, in 2003, we moved in, and a few years later, all these bond issues were being passed. And one of them promised something called Battle Park. And a lot of people down toward the Carolina Beachway, from Monkey Junction down, probably voted for it because they thought they were going to get some kind of a park somewhat like Halliburton Park. And guess what? The county commission took the money away and sent it up to Castleton. And we've never seen it, and there's 42 acres laying there, not developed, and I'm sure there are at least 20 developers going around literally slathering at the prospects of being able to get that piece of property from the county commissioners. Wouldn't that be nice? And so, you know, we have a group that is active now, and we are trying to become more active, and we need the county to fulfill what they promised a long time ago. When you lie to the people, it's awful hard to unlie. And we need some unlying going on with regard to this poor little piece of land down here across from where the Taco Bell is, basically, and French's Restaurant. It's on the other side of Carolina Beach Road. You can go right past it, don't even see it. It's 42 acres right on Carolina Beach Road. And we indigenous people down here think it's time that we got our park. And I'm not speaking to it. I know he's for it, but I'm just making myself, okay?
Hi, my name is Chasman, and I'm working with Rex, this old codger here that's trying to get Battle Park. And it's a really good cause. But I guess what I want to say is that I've been sitting here listening to everybody because we're trying to work on getting Battle Park as our park and not a development for more apartments. Yes. I'm listening to all the people in the nonprofits where money's being taken away. And I just went and picked up the 10-year plan for parks. It was just released. It's a nice booklet. It's beautiful. It talks about some really wonderful things. And I also picked up the comprehensive plan for New Hanover County. And the comprehensive plan sounds so wonderful, you think you died and went to heaven. Because part of the plan is to have green spaces. It talks about quality of life. It talks about helping the homeless. It talks about giving to these organizations and making sure that all citizens here are uplifted. Well, the county commissioners work for us. And there are 5 of them, and I want to know what the other people are doing about this plan that is now out in the public. Because this budget does not reflect the philosophy or the guts of the plans. But I noticed in there that my taxes might go up. Now, I would have to ask them, how can you raise my taxes if you're not giving me quality of life? How can you raise my taxes and expect me to be okay with it when you take money away from regular people or people that need to be lifted up? When you're allowing the crime rate to go up because people feel hopeless. That's the only reason why people do things like that. They have no hope, they have no vision. And you have these people that are working so hard to help. And you have other people that are demoralizing them, and they're doing just the opposite. Now, it's their responsibility to adhere to these plans that were so beautifully developed, and a lot of money went out to them. I mean, these have been in the works for, what, 5 years? 5 years, and the plan even says 2016, and it just came off the presses. So this goes to show you how slow things are moving. But I heartily encourage everyone, go down there and pick up your own booklets. They need people to go in there and say, you know, I understand that you have a comprehensive plan, and it's absolutely wonderful. Where does this fit into the budget?
For those of you who are interested in the comprehensive plan, it's a future comprehensive, the Hanover County Future Comprehensive Plan. You can see it online by going to the county website and following our planning and zoning. And you can get, thank you very much for that promotion of the plan. Drawing our attention to it. Roberta Fox, to speak on Elder House. Roberta? Oh, she's not okay. She can stick. Doug Spire. I think she was, sorry. No, yeah, well, Doug, come on up. I know you signed up. So anyways, come on up. Yeah, I guess not. You know, even better.
Hello. How's that? Well, Mr. Zapple, I also want to say thank you so much. You're the reason I came, just to make sure there's at least one person here and I can look at it. But, you know, this just is so reflective, and I want to bring it back. It's root cause, you know, why are we here? And like you said, it's not the money. The money's there. I mean, that's absolutely clear. This is a slap in the face. And, you know, when I first moved back here, I found myself involved with a nonprofit here, Cape Fear River Watch. And out of the blue, we had one of the nonprofits is not here because their budget isn't being cut. Wilmington, back then it was industrial development. They had to change their name after trying to bring Titan Cement here. Now there's business development. What is it, $198,000 is in the budget for them? They are not here. And the reason they're not here is because they understand this is a political agenda. Those 3 seats right there were held by Mr. Cobb, Castor, and Greer. They're not here because it was citizens like you who stood up and said, this is not what we want. We have to do the same thing. We have those seats are occupied. You can take their names down, and we have to make some changes, okay? We don't want these nonprofits, you know, that aren't fulfilling their duties. They're bringing the wrong kind of industries here at the head of the table, okay? So let's go ahead and make our voices heard, and the next meeting, let's all bring 5 friends with us, okay?
Glenn, is that it? Sure.
I'm here from Carolina Jews for Justice. We're a new group in Wilmington. We're not here to make sure that everyone in the Carolinas is Jewish. We are here, although it's not a bad idea. But we are here to make sure that we live in a just society. And this budget does not reflect a just society. Reducing the budget for homelessness will not help that problem, it will only increase it. And the same for feeding the hungry. We must continue these programs to have a just society. If our brothers and sisters are hungry or homeless, or our children are not getting what they need so that they're not at risk, we are not fulfilling our duty as citizens of this county and as human beings. Thank you.
My name's Ed Ablard, and I'm 4.5 years here in Wilmington. I got here and I got a little culture shock, but I'm slowly adjusting. I'm standing up tonight because I live in Carolina Heights. Our 2 elementary schools that are right in our nearby precinct are Rachel Freeman Elementary School and Snipes Elementary School. Both of them have been written up in the by Cammie Bellamy. Is she here tonight? Cammie has written up a series of articles that ought to get a Nobel Prize or whatever they are. We have schools that are underperforming for those kids, and I'm standing up here tonight to urge the county commissioners and all of you here put pressure on the county commissioners to put pressure on the school board to do what's right for those kids. This week, they're having the end of the grade testing. We have a new principal, Susan Sellers, who's outstanding at Rachel Freeman Elementary School, and we're hoping for the best for those kids. But they are sorely pressed, and every time I made a list of the organizations that are well aware of the problems of those kids and serve those kids, but the school itself needs support, and so wherever, whenever you have time to volunteer, please do so. We have a web page called Support Rachel Freeman Elementary School. There's a comparable one for Snipes, and I hope that even though you may live in the county, Rex and others, that you will think about giving some time for these schools and to the kids that go there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ed, for that. I'd like to add a personal note that I also volunteer at Freeman, Rachel Freeman. And for those of you who have never been involved in volunteering at any of our elementary schools, Snipes or even Pine Valley or anywhere, it is a truly gratifying, and it is the simplest thing you could ever do. There's a person in this room who could not benefit by doing it, but more importantly, what you'll bring to the kids who are there that you sit down with. In most cases, it's simply a matter of having one-on-one attention while they read or do a simple basic thing. The teachers will love you, the principals, and the kids. So I couldn't let that go by without saying how important that is. Clancy Thompson, that's it, here.
As someone who spent 57 years in the arts, in the not-for-profit, in the culture, I want to just take a minute, a 2.5-minute reflection on what the role of not-profits is in a society. First of all, stewardship within the community is what not-for-profits are. They involve thousands of volunteers that support, that toil within the community, helping the vulnerable, the underserved, and the rich. And I think this is the key thing. In the architecture of a healthy community, nonprofits play an important weight-bearing role. These not-for-profits not only care for the vulnerable, but they support the arts, which enhance our spirits and make us a better and a more healthy and a more alive and vital community. You know, we all know that a community is judged by the success not of its most powerful citizens, but of the opportunities to succeed with its most vulnerable. Our children, our handicapped, our seniors, our minorities, our abused, and those seeking new life after incarceration. Nonprofits represent the best instincts of our citizenry to reach out and help others, and in that role they need, and in fact they should demand, the moral and financial support of elected servants, who are elected to serve the best interests of the community at large. Now, to cut these programs to increase tax benefits for those already doing well seems unconscionable. It flies in the face of the values we as a culture aspire to. It's what our leaders should prioritize. We should aid and ensure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all our citizens, not those already secure, rich, and powerful. So, here's something to think about. Every county budget should include a portion, maybe not a tithe, but a significant amount of its money to augment and encourage the dedicated work of not-for-profit volunteers and their organizations. Money augmenting the immense time and talent and treasure that these people put into their organizations day in and day out, recognizing that their work today is what's building the foundation for a better and stronger future tomorrow. So, I urge the majority of commissioners to rethink their thoughtless cuts and fund critically important nonprofit institutions dedicated to the positive growth and development of this amazing county. And I urge all of us to stand firm, come back, and spread the word through our emails and everything else that this is not acceptable.
Thank you for reminding me. Again, I'll say it again, and I'll say it twice more before we leave. June 19th. Bring back every one of these thoughts and make these points to the full commission. Thank you, Clancy, for that.
Rob, what time?
Oh, it'll be at 4 p.m.
David McAvoy. You said at what time, sir?
Coach, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock is when the county commission meeting will happen on June the 19th. Yes. Sorry, not my decision. Harper Peterson. Former mayor of Wilmington. Harper, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And someone mentioned that the elected officials at any level work for the people that elected them, that participated in the election that put them in office. In the recent commission election, I remember distinctly one of the members not here, I believe it was the chairman, clearly stated in a commercial that he was your employee and that he would protect every nickel and dime that your tax dollars brought to the coffers of the county. When I served on the city council, I learned from a distinguished gentleman, Mayor Don Betts, my mentor. And I also learned as a county resident from a county commissioner who's sitting back here, Ms. Katovi, Karen Katovi. Hopefully some of you do remember Karen. She was a great leader and still is. But they taught me about the process of a budget. Now, many great things have been said in support of these nonprofits tonight, and that's important. But it's the process, and it's fallen down, it's fallen. And you know that, Robin. I think that's why you called this meeting. I was taught that this is the most important thing you can do as an elected official at any level, local, county, state, federal, the budget, because it represents your philosophy as a board, the direction you're going, the vision you have, and how you represent every citizen, whether they voted for you or not, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. That's important. And the process demands that you have a public hearing 2 weeks prior to the final vote. That's important not only for the nonprofits or anybody that wants to talk on behalf of the budget. It's important for the commissioners to hear it, for staff to hear it, but most importantly, it's important for you to hear about it. I've learned a lot tonight. It's important for me to be participating in this public hearing, and that process has been taken away. And that's part of our democratic process. That's one of the basic tenets. How can they do that? Am I correct in that one of the commissioners had a personal conflict that overrides the public hearing? That alone is reason for you to be here today and to be here on June 19th. And you need to tell your fellow citizens that democracy is being stepped on. So that's the process and the philosophy. You elected the board here 6 months ago. There'll be another election in 18 months. This is an indication of the philosophy that your county commissioners have, are riding, and will continue to ride unless you say stop. This is not the democracy I have fought for, that I've raised a family for, that I pay my taxes for. I will not stand for this. That is your charge. And pass that on to everyone you know that lives and works, raises a family, and believes in the quality and the vision and the future of this county. Rob Zapple tonight is my mentor because he represents what the people of Illinois. He's too nice of a guy. You don't find too many politicians like that who really care. And there's more than 7 days and 24 hours in his day. I don't know how he does it, but Rob, thank you. You did good.
Jeannie Lennon? Jeannie, there you are, yeah.
That's a hard act to follow. I just want to briefly suggest something that is rather specific for the June 19th meeting, and also for any phone calls you make to the three commissioners that are the difficult ones here. Any phone calls, any letters you can write. Look at that budget and say, I want you to take $135,000 away from the incentives for PPD, or away from whatever isn't part of your philosophy when you look at that budget. Let's all come back with very specific requests. It's not going to work to come in and say, and we want you to put it back. Let's be specific that what we're asking for reflects the philosophy of why we believe in these nonprofits. and come up with specific things, and maybe it'll give them a way to save face and give us back our money.
Brenda Vaughn? Brenda, you here? Brenda? Oh, there you are. You're good. Thanks. Vanessa Warner? Hey, Vanessa, come on in.
Hello, I didn't expect this at all. Thanks everyone for coming out. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Jamie was saying, to try and put some specifics out there. I believe one of the commissioners, Pat, I believe her name is?
Pat Kuzak, yes.
She said that, well, fruit is fruit. It's got to, got to get rid of some of the fruit. Fruit is fruit. Well, that really burned me up. Because fruit is not just fruit. And all of you here represent some of the best, I think, trees and the blooms that can come from those trees and the fruit that really ends up nourishing the entire community in this room. So what I would also suggest is, let's show them, let's tell our commissioners, hey, I'm that piece of fruit that you don't think is very valuable. I'm that homeless person. If you kick me back out on the street, and money seems to be all they care about, so how much is that going to cost the city? I mean, that's all they care about is money. That's my, thing. So, show them the numbers. If you're going to kick someone out of a recovery treatment center, how is that going to wind up costing you, the person who cares so much about only your money? It's going to cost you. So, fruit is not just fruit. I mean, I hate speaking that way. I know it's terribly crass, and I know most of us here don't believe that. I'm just trying to think of what might, again, help them save face, so to speak. Oh, gee, if we don't cut this program, we'll save the city. And then hopefully we can get to the whole moral component of it eventually. But I would say that fruit is not just fruit. Or, damn it, fruit is fruit. And it grows. And it needs people like us to help it grow, doesn't it? The kids. The people who are struggling so much. So that's only, as someone who's benefited from these services, and I deal with my own health issues that affect me every day, and sometimes I can't go out, sometimes I can. I know that everybody needs the fruit of everyone's labors in here, and that it actually adds to the value of this community. The more you start cutting from these programs, the cheaper we will be, just moral-wise, correct? And then what does that end up doing? It just ends up spreading. So let's show her. I don't care. Send her a picture of fruit. Put a tree, a little piece of fruit, draw it if you have to, say, I'm so-and-so. This is how much it would cost, since that's the money thing here, for me to not get the services that you would like to cut. Add that all up, and I bet it comes to a heck of a lot more than $135,000.
James Middleton? James? Hey.
First off, I would like to thank Commissioner Zapple for organizing and hosting all this tonight. Second, I would like to thank all the people who are here representing the nonprofits of the New Hanover County for the really outstanding work that you do, not only just for the work that you do, but for coming here and speaking out on your behalf tonight. And it seems that our county commissioners are not all willing to do the same. But I'm actually here just with a question for you mostly, sir. Given the current national dialogue around our national withdrawal from the Paris Agreement, I was curious about how we are making decisions about sustainability here in New Hanover County. Now I just wanted to first say that when we talk about sustainability, it's important to remember that we really are talking about three equal parts. First, that it is environmentally protective. Second, that it is economically profitable. And third, that it is socially equitable. Now, I think we've put enough from our nonprofits tonight to know that the socially equitable part is not exactly the highest priority of some of our commissioners. But as to the environmental part, I was browsing through the budget, and I saw that in the New Hanover County Enterprise Strategy Map, under the heading of Intelligent Growth and Economic Development, there was this directive: support a planned environment that enhances community and preserves and protects our natural resources, which I was all in favor of. Now, after looking at that, I was unable to find any specific initiatives that seemed to be tied to that directive. But in fairness, I was not able to completely, very thoroughly peruse all the budget, so I wanted to ask you how exactly that directive affected decision-making over the county budgetary process. And in addition, I'd like to know if you personally believe it has a sufficient impact on county budgetary policy, and on the off chance that it isn't, what you'd like to see change, and how New Hanover County residents can contribute. Thank you.
It's a longer, it deserves, a question that deserves a longer answer. But I'd say for a couple places to begin the dialogue is to go to what was mentioned earlier about the new Hanover County Comprehensive Plan. And go and dive into it. Many of those issues that are talking about sustainability is baked into the different chapters of that. I agree with you, they're aspirational, and many of them, they are goals that we have set for ourselves as we look out into the future. That's what the whole map is about. In that process also, we're currently involved in the UDO process, the Unified Development Ordinance, and bringing together all of our ordinances. Keep in mind, for those of you who have been here for a while, you may remember that we, amazingly, most zoning in New Hanover County did not come into play until the late 60s and early 70s. And so we are still, I guess, having a hangover, basically, from the zoning that went into place at that time. The UDO process, as we try and layer that on to the new comprehensive plan map, is designed to address many of the issues you're talking about, including sustainability. So if you have trouble reaching that, James, in finding it, you know how to reach me. I will make sure that you get a complete copy of it. It's a thick document, and for someone like yourself, you're like myself, you'll read it and go through and mark it up, which is exactly what I hope you'll do. And then let's schedule time, and we can sit down and talk, and then anything I can't answer, I'll take you directly to our planning and zoning people, and we can sit down and continue that conversation. It's absolutely an important question, and one that we have a lot of our talented staff in New Hanover County working on. Granted, it starts with goals, then it has to be backfilled with actual dollars and cents. So thank you for the question. Sure.
Thank you very much. I've observed you and your work, reading about you. This is an example. You have earmarks of a statesman. I think it's good if you don't pay attention to Democrat, Republican, represent the people, and I won't curse. You brought something to mind, and I'll come here to speak. I have listened here many, many times. I was a judge right here, heard thousands of cases. Back in the 1970s, and I want to speak to the nonprofits, not the people who can't make money and go broke, but your nonprofits. I thought I was being funny, but I'm not, I guess. And I want to speak to you on your topic briefly. We started the community service work program right here where you're sitting in the 70s. Now, moving forward to today, people who could go to prison, who qualify, do not go to prison. They work. They work for you. They work for community services, nonprofits. We don't get into religion. You know that. They work for any government, state, marina, battleship, whatever. If you have a building or something and need labor, it is free. Community service work program, moving forward, we got it through the state. The majority of states have adopted it. Some other countries, it's blown my mind, really. The criminals now pay in $250 for the privilege of doing free community work for you. The amount in North Carolina, the last figures I saw for the last year, over $7 million The work is valued for painting, maybe $10 or whatever. They get not a penny. It's over $36 million here in North Carolina. If you want to use it, use it. Now you. Some years ago, my roots go back a long time here. I won't tell you when I was born. And we conveyed 109 acres of land. Lord's Creek is on both sides, in the south end of the county, New Hampshire County, to the Conservancy. They conveyed it to the county commission. He knows all this. He's smart, moving along with it. The county bought it for $10, but nothing's been done with it. It's to be a natural area. Wildlife down there. I envision it sort of down in the South Florida, the Everglades, and that's why, just some paths and things, not buildings. No. 109 acres. It's not on the river, it's just across the road from it. Another thing, I've heard of your golf program. I think it's great.
Tennis.
I'm not in a non-profit. That's why I didn't sign up. I didn't plan to speak. But the EAA is Experimental Aviation Association. I used to fly in the Air Force. And some of them build their own planes. They've been taking kids up for flights. Now, we took kids, we're gearing toward, I don't know how to define them because I don't want to classify them, but kids in public housing. Took 40 up just about a month ago over in Brunswick County, the regional jet port, to show them there's another world out there, like you're doing. There's another world out there. You can make it. You can make it. Don't let whatever disadvantage or injury or whatever you might think you have, you can overcome it. Then, about 2 weeks ago, I want to go to Pender County. And I'm in QB, Quiet Burden, just an organization of all kind of pilots. And this guy, Ken McGee, he's a helicopter flyer. He said, let's do it Saturday. We're going to have some fly-ins at Stag Park up in Pender County. This was Wednesday night. So Thursday, I jumped on it. We ended up with 14 kids from public housing in Pender County. I won't show you pictures, but it was extremely exciting. I don't know if you ever heard of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. It's a black fraternity. General Powell's a member. Thurgood Marshall. We have them right here. Your gentleman who used to be chairman is a member. I've worked with them. They have to qualify. We may have members sitting right in here. I don't know. Top flight people. It's a black organization. I mean, basically for that. They're around the world. Now they're getting involved. EAA is all over the country. So we'll see what happens.
Thanks for those comments, Bill. We've come to the end of those people who had signed up. I'd like to reserve this time too. At the end, there's somebody who had a thought that was prompted by something that was said here. Herb, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll take those at this time.
Rob, I'm looking at this list. I know that it didn't come from you, but it seems to affect the most desperate, the poorest, and the black section of this town. I would like, can you tell us how out of 400 things that they decided on these cuts and who did it? That's what I'd like to know.
First, let me give you clear that there are over 400, and as I believe Amy mentioned earlier, over 800 in the 3-county area nonprofits, of which New Hanover County funds 43 nonprofits and outside county agencies. So just to be clear, those that have been funded. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's what a good idea, Peter. So smart. all the nonprofits and outside county agencies that the county funds have gone through a process that the staff has handed them an application. The applications have been looked at, they've been vetted, their financials have been submitted, and they've been given a piece of paper that tells them the requirements to continue to get their funding on a yearly basis. So there is not a willy-nilly process at all. They've all been selected. Why these 10 were picked this year for funding cuts, I don't know. I was not a part of that. I was not a part of any of the meetings. I was handed a paper prior to our last agenda briefing that said, here are the proposed cuts. So I was...
So the answer is the Republicans on the board did it?
Who was in those meetings?
Well, these are, the cuts are being proposed by the three, Pat Cusack, Chairman White, Woody White, and Skip Watkins are the three commissioners who are supporting these proposed cuts. Now, I know there continues to be discussion, and I know that there continues to be phone calls and a lot of emails that have gone from many people in this room, and I would encourage that you continue that kind of pressure. We have 2 weeks prior to the June 19th date where we'll have the public hearing, followed by the vote on the budget. Keeping that pressure forward is really important. Erin, you had your hand up.
Yes. Can I add one thing to your statement?
Sure, of course.
That's fine. My name is Erin Payne, and I am the Development Director for Keep Your Literacy Council. Our organization is part, thank you. Our organization is part of the budget this year, and we were not cut. We provide free, individualized, personalized adult literacy services for 32 years to tens of thousands of people in New Hanover County. 60,000 plus people in our county alone, need our services. They do not have the skills, the reading, writing, math, literacy skills to exist on a daily basis and to contribute to our society. But one thing I want to reiterate to everyone in this room is that these budget cuts that mean so much to these organizations, these 10 organizations, are being compounded by state and federal budget cuts. And this year alone, and the budget cuts from the county may have a significant impact on the ability for these organizations to exist. Every single organization in this room is supported by the corporations, the fantastic businesses and corporations in our town. We have phenomenal individual donors, but it is important, it is essential for our county and our city, but especially these days our county, to support our businesses. And we are legitimate businesses in this city and county. That's all I have to say.
Is there anybody else who had a question? Yes.
If the money was there last year, where did it go to?
The money is there this year. The question, I don't know if you heard it, she said, if the money was there last year, where did it go? The money's there. I think I stated it earlier on. The staff recommended, the county staff recommended that all of these nonprofits be fully funded. We can balance the budget. The budget is balanced with that in there. Again, this is really a statement of philosophy of government that's coming from the 3 Republican members on the county commission. So that's, the money is there. Another question? Sir. There's a microphone.
Yes, my name is Walter Samuel. I'm the first vice president for the NAACP. I see where the school budget, the money going to the school is going to be increased, $830,000. Is there any oversight of that money, or does the county just write them a check and turn around and walk away?
There is a lot of oversight, is the short answer. However, the funding of the school system is a little odd until you get into this kind of work and understand it. The county commissioners are responsible for writing the check or delivering the money. The spending of that money that is requested by the school board is determined by policy by the duly elected school board, of which we have 7 members of the school and New Hanover County School Board. They make a request, we consider the request at the county level, we negotiate back and forth, and then we write them a check, but we frustratingly do not have line-by-line control of how that money is spent. However, they have their own body and they're duly elected, so I respect that.
So there's no oversight?
Well,
to put it
the school board is really where you need to go. However,
No. The county supplies the money.
That's right.
There's no oversight. Because what I'm looking at, there are 19 schools that are over capacity, 8 under capacity. That seems to be a little irresponsible. So if they're using that money to buy mobile units to keep supplying those overcapacity schools, is there any oversight? Again, back to my question, from the county, not the school, but from the county.
They enhance segregation. That's what's happening.
It's a school board issue that you deliver that message. I believe there are many of us in the county who are banging the same drum and saying this loud and clear. Again, the county supplies the money, and it's by policy the school board is the one who implements it. They're the ones who who buy the mobile classrooms. They're the ones that look at districting or redistricting and decide whether or not they're going to do it. And at this point, they have not, and that's where you get that imbalance. We have no control over it.
So you write them a check.
Can I jump in there real quick and say that the problem with the school board is you have a 7 Republican member school board with not a single Democrat on it.
Yes. Dave.
Well, I guess I'm the only person here who's ever served on the school board. And in all fairness to you, Rob,
yes.
What happens with that? There's a lot of abuse going on with the county's money. A lot of abuse when it comes to your point about the mobile classrooms. I can recall when I was on the school board, there was a request made to the Lottery Commission for $150,000 to buy and move trailers. And the Lottery Commission denied it because we had sufficient classroom space. What did they do? They took county money to do that. I think you need to have more oversight over how that money is spent, because what that is doing, that is enabling the school board to keep the schools segregated in this community.
Another question? Do we have a mic over here, please? Greg?
Hi, my name is Julie Walker. I'm a graduating senior from Laney next week, actually.
Great, congratulations.
And I just wanted to kind of take on what people have been saying about education oversight as well as nonprofit oversight. And I've had the opportunity and privilege to volunteer at many of these nonprofits, Jones Museum in Wilmington and Snipes Elementary. I volunteered there for educational work as well as Good Shepherds and other house. But one of the main things that seemed to upset me in my senior year is that I had the unfortunate opportunity to do my senior project on the segregation of elementary schools, especially in New Hanover County. And it became quite obvious to me just how much the compassion we speak of here, as we friends have gathered, are missing in a lot of our community positions, our county positions, with economic surpluses being cast aside and ignored and kept away from the eyes of our community members at large. Previously, I think our county or our school board was actually put in trouble for a large economic surplus of over 20 million. Currently now 17 million, that is tucked away for an emergency fund that we've not seen any profit from, that we've been kept from for a rainy day that is somewhere near in the future that we can't possibly imagine. And to see cuts to the school board, or to the nonprofits today, when they already have given so little, and then to see cuts even though it seems like growth to the education with a blank check, as you say, sir, is upsetting to me in one of the most important ways, because children don't know injustice yet. And we know it as we're here and we gathered to speak against it. But the disregard of the benefit of these nonprofits and the benefit of schooling for all these children that are underprivileged and at risk is the most upsetting part of this all, because they don't seem to understand how much we care and how much people need our care. And to see all of us gathered here today, it makes me proud of my community. And despite the unfortunate circumstances, we are stronger than ever, and I value that everyone is here today. I hope that in the future, I'm going to continue to pursue my research on school segregation in college this fall, because I've received a grant for it. I'm going to continue to do this, and I hope that just like myself, none of you will let this stand.
Comment. You're referring to the school board's fund balance. In this proposed budget that's coming forward, the school board's proposed to spend that down because of the encouragement of the county commission. Well, it's there, we know it, and that fund balance is being spent down from 17 million down to 12 million. So putting the money back in the hands of the school, which and our taxpayers. Sorry, I saw a number of hands. Yes, sir.
I just got.
Sure.
Thank you, Robert. So you work, and I volunteer as we all do. But there's just one thing that I'd like to remind people, or dare people to do. There's a new book out by Michelle Alexander called The New Jim Crow. It will explain a lot of this about what's going on with the federal government and holding the people down. It's a plan, and it seems it's been going on since 1685. So, The New Jim Crow, read that book if you dare.
Thank you. Right there. Behind you, Rebecca.
My name is Beth Gaglione, and I'm the branch director of the League of Central and Eastern North Carolina here in Wilmington. There are 72,000 people in our region who are food insecure, and on their behalf, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and supporting our nonprofit community. But mostly I want to say that this is not an easy time to run a nonprofit organization, and I know that my colleagues would agree with me. One day I'll be driving down the road listening to NPR, and a congressman will be interviewed, and someone will ask him, do you think it's a right to eat? And he said, he defers the question. And it's hard to hear. And then the next day I wake up and I find out that our Senate wants, our North Carolina State Senate wants to cut the SNAP program, all of dollars of which come from the federal government. And then a few days later, I found that 2 of our partner agencies here in New Hanover County, who feed children and adults every day, are receiving a cut from the county, which will make my job and your job and your job and your job harder to do. So really, I just want to thank you for coming and supporting our work. It means the world to all of us who work in this work every day. It makes it easier knowing that you're here. And to this lovely woman who goes to Laney High School, I would say, finish your degree, and in 4 years, if I still am the branch director of the food bank, I hope you will come and see me for a job.
Down in the food bank, down on Marsteller, near Marsteller and 16th, I guess that is. It is a fabulous organization, and they offer volunteer operations. I know I've gone with my grandson before to help pack at almost every day. They have dozens of volunteers. It is a very worthwhile time to spend down there. You do great work. Beth, thank you so much, and feed literally thousands of people in our community. Thank you for that. Can you get a mic back here, please?
Thank you. My name is Mark Sinclair. I am the Executive Secretary with One Love in the Lenny Simpson program. I have worked in nonprofits since 1999, and done a lot of budgets. So I do appreciate your removing the smoke and the mirrors and being blunt about the fact that the money's actually there and that we could work this out. So obviously, this has become more of a political issue than it is a financial one. Also, I spent 9 years as a leader in youth and government, so I know a lot of politicians and how this whole thing works. I don't know all of the people involved, but I'm guessing that it is somewhat personal. And on a personal note, I want to thank all of the nonprofits that did show up tonight and all that didn't, because we do need to work together more now than ever, because if they can cut 10, they can cut 20, they can cut 100, they can cut 1%, 5% across the board. Okay, so that precedent can't be set. We need to stop it now. We need to work together. If you didn't get cut or not being proposed to be cut, boost up the ones that are, because next time it could be you. And just one quick point, Mr. Simpson has left the building, so that I will make this point. I wasn't going to say it before, but it's easy to cut an acronym. Just some letters that mean whatever. Look closely at those 10 nonprofits. There's only 2 first names. And you know who they are. And I respect both of those men very much. So to me, this is a little bit personal. Actually, it's a lot personal. So please help us get these cuts done and away with, and so we can carry on the good work that's being done right now. I have 460 kids a week that are going to suffer directly because of this. We can't let that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Just a couple minutes here before we wrap up. We are going to close at 7:30. I just want to say that I've learned a tremendous amount here today. I think that everybody who is here learned a lot about our community, and I feel better and more proud than I ever have about the nonprofits and about the people who are involved with it. I see you as our friends, our neighbors. You are what create the quality of life here in New Hanover County. We often talk about it in kind of vague or open terms or use it and throw it around. We saw the faces of what is the fabric of our community. That is what quality of life is. That's what draws people here and draws yourself to come up and stand up. This is one of those times, though, where I need you on the 19th of June at 4 p.m. to come back to the same room and to repeat or even add to all the comments that you've made. Tonight we've seen or heard from, I believe, almost 50 people that we've had. Unbelievable. Can you remember the last time that you've been in a 2-hour meeting where 50 people had the opportunity to speak? I cannot thank everybody who participated here. They kept it short. I know every one of them, because I've heard many of them could go on for 20, 30, 40 minutes about with a slideshow presentation and et cetera. But you didn't, and the result is everybody got a fair shake. I'm so proud to be a part and certainly be a representative of this community. This was a terrific meeting, and with that, we are going to close 2 minutes early. My gosh, we bring it in on time and on budget.
Yeah, no kidding, right?